My name is Makomborero Haruzivishe. I'm a freedom fighter. Things have fallen apart. If something is not done urgently to save the situation, things are really going to get very, 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 very bad, to the extent that most of the things, would slowly or maybe but surely be a failed state, because all the signs and symptoms are there. Economic-wise, politics-wise, look, if we go to politics, we have a dysfunctional parliament which is failing to perform its basic functions due to dirty politics. We have councils which are failing to do basic functions and to function, basically provide basic services due to dirty politics. Economically, people are hungry. There is unemployment, it's 99% unemployment rate, and those few who are employed, they are underemployed. That's why even you find soldiers, if you go to prison, most of the armed robberies that are happening now, soldiers are involved. Most of the frauds that are happening now, police officers are involved. The number of people who are abusing offices for personal benefit, you talk of corruption. This is at a lower level. But you can go even at a high level in terms of state capture, high levels of corruption, billions and multi-millions being looted dry. So the state of the country now is, they point to a failed state, and if something is not done urgently, it will become a dysfunctional state and a broken nation. Young people in Zimbabwe, despite the fact that we are the majority, we are extremely underrepresented to the extent that I can say, we safely say we are underrepresented in as far as formal platforms of governance are involved, in as far as formal platforms of economic activities of this country are involved. Because we can go to parliament, how many young people do we have there? Too few. We can't even count up to 5 young people who are under the age of 35. We go to councils, they are there, but it's too insignificant a number. We go to those who own mines, who own farms, critical modes of production. They are very, very few. The numbers are insignificant. So if we have a generation that is excluded from governance platforms, from economic activities, then we can conclude easily that they are unrepresented, and they need to break out, to break the ceiling, to break out of their shell. We need to overcome the barriers, because we all want a better life. We all want jobs. We all want to be property owners. We all want a better future. So for us to achieve that, we have to be involved and included in the key economic processes that are happening in this country. We have to be included and involved in the key governance processes that are happening in this country. We have to reach and put in our numbers. That's the only way we can ensure that our voice matters. Come election time, vote for our own, who are young, not only in terms of chronological age, but in terms of mindset, ideas, ideals. We want a better Zimbabwe. How the national cake, reaches us, our generation. How we create employment for ourselves. How we also can acquire land. How we can also acquire mines. How we also can, be part of critical, even be able to compete for tenders. The justice system, my brother, we can begin by even the Chief Justice of this country. He is there illegally, unconstitutionally. Then we go to some of the even what you can call maybe court rulings by the highest court in the land, the High Court. Court rulings that are made and not implemented. Like in Blawayo, we find Obed Mpov. Despite the fact that he owns, almost all of Victoria Falls and a greater part of Blawayo in terms of assets, buildings, and everything, he is grabbing Siposami Malunga's farm. A farm which he bought using his own money, and which the activities that he was doing there in terms of agriculture is something that is benefiting, contributing to the national, food programs. It's feeding the nation. But then he comes, he invests the farm, He is stopped by a High Court order, but he continues doing that. And in terms of the law, nothing is being done to him. It doesn't make sense. He's clearly abusing power, and he's someone who's abusing power with the knowledge that nothing can be done to him, knowing that he has influence, in terms of how the justice system operates, knowing that even if a court is to rule against him, that court ruling will be ineffective against him, like what is happening right now. And the police are there doing nothing. They're actually aiding him in this illegality. We go from there, we can go even to the case of Tawanda Mcheyiwa, the Imbala case. A court gave a ruling, a High Court judge gave an order that Imbala should provide details in as far as to what happened, who hired the cars that used to abduct Tawanda Mcheyiwa. The High Court judge gave an order that they should provide to Tawanda Mcheyiwa's lawyers information pertaining, the routes that these cars moved in terms of they have trackers their cars. But they defied that High Court order, and nothing is happening to them. So there are many examples that I can quote, which point to or self-proof themselves that our justice system. Yes, we have some judges, some magistrates who operate in a fair manner, but overall the justice system, when it comes to critical questions, it's compromised, seriously compromised, especially when it comes to political issues or come to issues of pure thievery, like what Open Bof is doing. It's daylight robbery, but because he's a political figure, who is in part of the ruling party, nothing's being done to him. So I've serious misgivings. Even before I got arrested, I had serious misgivings with regards to our justice system. But now, when I spend my stint long time in jail, I have lost all faith in the justice system. We can go even from the prosecution, the way they are doing the things. As we are speaking right now at the court, Joanna Mamombe and Cecilia Chimbiri's parents have been dragged to court to come and be harassed using lawfare by the prosecution, by Michael Reza. They are in court right now. Why? They are being harassed because their daughters were abducted, were abused by the system. So their crime was they made a habeas corpus application in demand. They were trying to search for their children, but right now their parents are now being harassed because of that. So it points to a justice system that is insensitive to, number one, the constitution, a justice system that is insensitive, number one. Number two, to the principle of fairness, a justice system that is not just. Corruption is incurable. With the current system, it can't cure corruption because it's corruption itself. It got there through corrupt means in the first place, and it's being maintained through corruption. So the current government and current system, it has no capacity to cure corruption. Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission is a toothless bulldog. It's very big and fat, but it's toothless. It has never beaten anyone. It just barks here and there, but it has never. The real corruption cases, when we are speaking of the real corruption cases, we are speaking of the farm mechanization scheme, where politicians looted millions and never paid back. Why? Because judges were also beneficiaries in that scheme. So there is no way they can ever allow corruption to be fought when they are beneficiaries of that corruption. We can speak of they will never be touched. They are untouchable. So you will see functionaries, maybe small fish. They are the ones that may be shaken here and there, but they will never. They will never really those arrests and catch and release episodes will never cure corruption. It will never cure corruption. But it even goes to number one himself. We know of drugs man, but who was arrested? It was Opochmo. When they supposed to arrest the terrible twins? When they supposed to arrest the beneficiaries of those processes? We saw they did I catch and release, episode with Obadiah, but was the money returned? No, it was not returned. So the real people, if Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission is useful, they should start making, that time they start making arrests, for real, on real people. Check, Enrera Shua is caught with gold bars. Gold bars, you don't mine gold. Artisanal miners can't, extract gold bars. What was proven there was that they are stealing from Fidelity Printers itself. After the government, gets gold and stores it, she has the power and capacity to go and now get the gold bars and resell them for abroad. So I can tell you that it's that you can't use people Zimbabwe been good, economy functioning proper, the national resources being distributed equally, no marginalization of people based on race, tribe, or ethnicity. Maybe I wouldn't be sitting here, talking to you, because I wouldn't have been a freedom fighter, I wouldn't have been an activist, I wouldn't have been, participating in politics. Maybe my participation in politics would have been limited to voting and voting alone. But it's because Zimbabwe is bad, it's unsustainable. Which has over 6 million of its citizens abroad. They are refugees. Highest number of economic and political refugees. It means that country is untenable. Look, every day we see news, in Google, we hear that a Zimbabwean has been appointed to a high position. We hear news that Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, we hear Zimbabweans are scoring big. We hear news, the Zimbabwe making it big, making great inventions abroad. The Zimbabweans, if you go to South Africa, most of the major companies, if you go in South Africa, if you go to MTN, Vodacom, you find that the CEOs and directors, they are Zimbabweans. If you go to South Africa, you find that they are Zimbabweans. So, this is Zimbabwe, where all those people can come back home with their skills, develop the country. In terms of human resources, we are one of the best. In terms of even the natural resources, we are one of the best in the world. We are the best in everything, but the only problem we have is our government. Zimbabwe is great, but we have a very, very wrong and bad government. I will tell him to step down, not from the elevator, but from power. And I will assure him that in the Zimbabwe that will go, we need him alive in the new Zimbabwe to see that Zimbabwe can be better than what we currently are in. And it also be my wish that he sees that new Zimbabwe outside here, not in prison. Despite that he has committed a lot of crimes, from Gukura to corruption, to political violence. Talk of 2008, we talk of even the coup he committed in 2017, talk of 1 August. My wish would be for him to see a better Zimbabwe, a new Zimbabwe, as a free man, not in prison, so that he will really test the power of good governance. You really test, the power of good leadership. You really test, the power of a free Zimbabwe.